Good evening, fellow Plexers. This video goes out to Bret Whitted, which is a cool name for YouTube or for Gmail, whatever it happens to be. He's a viewer of my YouTube channel, and he's wondering about Salem's Lot, that it won't add as a movie, and he's having trouble adding it as a TV show with both episodes in one file. So he's named it Salem's Lot 1979, and I can tell you that will not work because it's not formatted as a TV show series. So we'll show that, but first I want to stop at Plex's support article naming and organizing your TV show files. This video I will not showcase FileBot. I do that enough. So if we drop down, I want to show that Plex tells you you can use a source ID from either TMDB or TVDB. Just to tell you not to even use IMDb with a movie library. You can use the IMDb TT number, but it's not officially supported by Plex's instructions. And I personally named it TVDB because they list virtual TV series that I talk a lot about when I do a FileBot video concerning a TV show series. So I'll talk about that after we visit the databases. The other thing from the naming guide that's important, without covering the naming guide fully, is multiple episodes in a single file. And I will show how to name this mini-series, whether you have 2 files for each episode or 1 file for both. So this is pretty easy. It's a sequence. The series and episode coding is just normal SO2 E18, and if episode 19 is in the same file, it's -E19. Well, this confuses people who might have 3 episodes in one file because they would want to do a -E20 and Plex won't recognize that. This is a sequence. So if you have cartoon episodes with 3 episodes in one file, this would then be E18-E20. So just remember, sequence, not an additional episode with another E or -E20. So that's all I'm going to talk about. I go over the naming guides totally. Find this support article and just read it if you've never read it before. And I am not against source IDs for TV shows. I just found they haven't been needed. And I'll show this. I use TVDB exclusively. And I name my media to TVDB aired ordering. TMDB is only aired ordering. And even if I have a show that's arranged in DVD ordering, I'll use 2 windows at TVDB to find out the few number of files that are out of place and rename them to TVDB aired ordering. I think this is important. Everything breaks. If you've got your media backed up and it's all named for TV shows to TMDB ordering, but say you've got 400 shows and 20 of them are rips from Blu-ray or DVDs, and you've switched manually to the TVDB DVD ordering just for those shows, and your Plex server's database blows up and you can't recover, and all your media needs to be scanned back into a new Plex server. Well, you had better have a list of those 20 shows that need to be pointed to TVDB DVD ordering, because they're going to scan in as aired ordering, and some of those episodes won't be matched up with the right metadata, and you won't know it until you go to watch a show and say, hey, this show was supposed to be about this subject, but it was something else. So I'd rather manually rename to TVDB aired ordering, because then it works no matter which database you're using. And I prefer this for other reasons because they list some virtual TV shows. Ask me about that in the credits after the video. No, not the credits, but ask me about that on this video, and maybe I'll do a separate video on just the subject of virtual shows at TVDB, even though I mentioned that a lot in other videos. So let's start with IMDb, which is the wrong place to name from again for a TV show. but you can check their Salem's Lot is listed as a TV miniseries and not a movie. Over at TMDB, just searching Salem's Lot, I show these two movies, and if I click into TV shows, then I see the two miniseries. Click into that, and it's obviously a TV show and not a movie. If you name this as a movie like that, it won't add to a TV show library, and it may add as the wrong movie to a movie library in Plex. If you wanted to force this in as a movie in Plex, I would name it so uniquely that Plex does not pick it up as the wrong Salem's Lot, because it'll never match it to the right one, to then supply custom metadata to it. And that's one way to force it into a movie library. I don't like that. I'm not going to talk about that. So if we go to TVDB and look, we see this, and clearly it says series and not movie. So this is what I am going to name to, but it doesn't really matter because there is no DVD order that's different from the aired ordering, because there's only 2 episodes and there's a special. And if I go to this listing, view all seasons at TMDB, click into it where it says miniseries. Well, it's not like a 2-episode miniseries is going to have a different ordering at either database. So no matter where your advanced TV show library setting for ordering comes from, TMDB or TVDB, this series, this miniseries is going to add the same way with both options with simple naming. All right, so now I have a test server running on my older Synology NAS with these libraries on it. I use this for a lot of videos. So if I minimize that and go into some directory structure, so I have some sort library folders that I use for this test server. They are under this simply named shared folder named media, and then under the TV library sort folder I have multiple TV libraries to play with. Inside test 1 is a simply named Salem's Lot 1979 TV show folder. Then I have the season folder, and inside that I have the individual episodes. So let's add this first. All right, so I'll add a library, TV shows dash test 1. I'll browse for the media. Now this is an alias because this is running in a Docker container. My Plex media adds to that or links to that shared folder. So now I can click TV library for the sort and TV-test, and here it is. If I go in, you can see the 2 separate episodes, but I want to point at this level. And under advanced, it does not matter for this show where the episode ordering is coming from. By default, I use TVDB, but I'll leave it on the movie database. All right, so we'll click into it. You see my 2 episodes under recently released episodes. I'll switch to library mode. Here's the show with 1 season. Now this shows the season. I have the description. If I click into the season, we see both episodes. If I click into the first episode, here's the description. Click into the second episode, here's the description. And unfortunately, the length comes from the actual video file, not as a metadata agent. So these are test dummy files that I made on this computer that are only 5 seconds long. So 2 single episodes scans in perfectly fine as long as it's named just like any other TV show. And this is a simple format. So now let's go to this test library folder, same folder name. And now I don't even have this prepped right. I don't have a season 01 folder. So let's drop this in that folder and then examine it. So if you acquired Salem's Lot in one file so it looks like a movie, this is where you use the multi-episode naming. So again, it's named simply Season 01, E01, E02. Let's, for the sake of argument, remove that. Now it's named like a movie, and this is how I think that Bret has it named, trying to add it as a TV show. So let's go back to our web app. Let's keep backing up, and let's add this new test library. All right, we'll find our structure. There's my alias for the media shared folder. There's my sort folder for TV show libraries. And here's the new TV Test 2 folder. I'll add that. And again, it does not matter for this particular show which database you're pulling episode ordering from. We'll add that, and now we'll pop into it. And we've got zilch. We've got nada. We've got nothing. So if I go into library mode and I change from all, well, maybe not that. If I go to TV shows and change to folder view, we do have the media, but Plex can't find it, right? All right, so let's go back to our structure, and let me simply rename this as 2 episodes in one file. Now this Plex server is set up to automatically detect library changes. So let's see if it starts scanning automatically. There it goes. Now sometimes something like this, without moving it out, you might have to do the Plex dance, but we did not have to. So I have the show Salem's Lot. It shows 1 season. Here's the description again. Here's season 1. Click into it. Here's my 2 episodes. And if I click into either one, I have the same description. And again, they both show as 5 seconds long because they're both the same dummy file. Well, this is one dummy file, but it's showing the same actual runtime for each episode based on the length of the overall joined episode. This is the only thing that's going to look different from the 2 separate files. Now, if you start episode 1, you're really starting the one file. And if you watch it all the way through and back up a couple levels, Plex will mark that as watch for both shows. If you stop 30 minutes in and it's a 50-minute episode, Plex will start back up. To be honest with you, I don't know what happens if you start 60 minutes or 70 minutes in when you're really on the second episode content in the one file, and then you start it back up. I'm assuming Plex is smart enough, it'll start back up where you need it. But I never faced this issue because instead of a one file with both episodes in it, I'm always looking for the 2 individual episodic files. And even if there was only good quality in a joined one, I'd use MKV Toolnix to try to get a clean split. And if I could not get a clean split because MKV Toolnix will only split at keyframe files, I might try my hand at splitting it by having it re-encoded so I could split the file exactly where I want to. So that's a lot of extra information, but Bret, this is how it's done. And I think you just named it as a movie, and the TV show library won't recognize it without the season episode coding in. And for anyone else watching, if my simple episode naming looks a lot different from how you name your TV shows, and your TV shows are matching, that's because Plex is very forgiving. But I would still caution you to go over this article, know it like the back of your hand, maybe watch some of my FileBot videos, because I follow this example that Plex gives of putting extra media characteristics information into brackets, and in a TV show library, this optional info will be ignored by the scanner. So you can have a very descriptive episodic file name to know exactly what it is. A 1080p, 720p copy. My filebot expression will tell me the codec used. It might say H.264 or H.265 or even AV1 if I've got something newer. And then it'll tell me the codec of the audio stream and whether it's 2-channel for stereo or 6-channel for 5.1 surround. I like that extra information. I do not routinely use filebot to add the TVDB or TMDB source ID. I've just never found it necessary. With a good show name from TVDB with a year, it always matches correctly. TVDB will not have 2 shows that have the same year, like you could end up with at TMDB or IMDB for a movie. So that necessitates a source ID to tell those apart. For example, I always find a way to make a video longer. Let's bring in TVDB. TMDB always uses the year, just like it does for movies. And I don't know of any TV shows with the same name from the same year. But even if there was, that can't happen at TVDB. Let's go to the old standby Shameless, and we'll do The Office too. So Shameless was originally a TV show in the UK that was then picked up and redone in the US. So TVDB will name the original show simply without a year. So Plex wants you to add a year, so you just put 2004 after this, space parentheses, or start parentheses, 2004 end parentheses. The US version of Shameless would be named just like this, with 2011 added on, space, start parentheses, 2011, end parentheses. You just don't need a source ID. It looks cool to have one, but you don't need one. Especially naming from TVDB and having your episode ordering coming from TVDB. I don't have as much experience naming from TMDB and libraries set up that way. So let's do The Office, because there's more than one. Again, the UK was first. 2001. So you'd simply add the year properly to this. The US version is The Office with US in parentheses, and then you'd add the year. I don't know where PL is from, but this was a 2021 series. AU, I'm guessing, is Australia. So this one would be named this way with 2024. This special is a movie, but I bet you it's listed. Let's see, I can't see this cast. So I bet you that's from the UK show. I bet you this Christmas special is listed as a special under this show. So let's click into it. Well, I did click into it, but things are slow in my world, apparently. So if we look under specials, there's 17s. Okay, so there's a bunch of Christmas specials. So I think, was that 2003? So that's probably this one. Oh, the movie is basically 2 episodes. So you would name that as SOOE01-EO2 if you had that Christmas movie in one file. So let's keep going. I don't know where IN is either. Here's another series called The Office from 1995. I don't know if that's connected to The Office we all know and love. But so be it. So you really can't miss by not using the source ID for a TV show, especially when naming from the TVDB. So I just prefer this for many reasons, but especially because you got the alternate DVD order. And let's just talk about that quickly. I'll use the US Office. Where is it? Right here. I'll open TVDB up in two windows and say I know I have a release that's from DVD. I'll open it up in two windows, one in the aired order and one in the DVD order, and I'll find the difference. So let's just go 6, 22, and 23. You can do that, 6, 22, and 23. So we've got the same number of episodes. Occasionally, with some British shows, I found the episode totals to be different because the DVD order also affected that. So that's a little advanced stuff. I always take any DVD ordering, find the differences, and rename it to aired ordering. And this is the last topic I'll mention before ending the video. If you have a large and complete Plex server, you've got all your media backed up, but unfortunately you don't have your Plex install backed up, and something goes wrong with your Plex database, and the database repair tool won't fix it, and you've come to the horrible conclusion that you have to create a new Plex server and scan all your media in again. Well, if you've got, say, 1,000 TV shows and 200 of those you've manually set to aired ordering, to DVD ordering, and let's show that. So this is not a good example. Let me go back. And before I forget, let me ditch these two test. Hold on. Let me ditch these two test libraries. Before I forget. All right, so they're gone. So let me go into this. Where is it? Library full of just 3 public domain shows. So I don't know if the Beverly Hillbillies has a different ordering for DVD than aired ordering, but this is set for aired ordering. And if it did have a different DVD order and I was named that way, I'm forced to scan it in under either TMDB or TVDB aired ordering based on the library preset. It'll scan in, and those episodes that are of a different order will pull the wrong metadata because it thinks it's DVD, or it thinks it's aired ordering when it's actually named a DVD ordering. I'm making this complex. But if you click the edit after it scans in and go to advanced, you can change the show. Let's see, where are we? At the show level, you can change episode ordering to TVDB DVD ordering. So if you save the changes and then come back in and refresh the metadata, now the episodes will line up to the right metadata. So if you've done that for like 200 shows out of 1,000 TV shows, and then catastrophically 5 years later you have to scan everything into a new Plex server, will you remember which 200 shows had the DVD ordering? I'd rather spend the 5 or even 10 minutes at the most figuring out what the aired ordering was and rename those few shows. So in case of a catastrophic event, I just have to point a new library or a new server at the media. It all scans in perfectly fine, and I can go on my happy way trying to recreate all the custom collections that I lost. I don't need this extra stuff. But here's the rub. The reason there's a difference between DVD and aired ordering is the DVD ordering most likely was supposed to be the original aired ordering. The director would have chosen to release it to DVD based on the order he wanted the series shown in. Generally, that's how he wrote it to be aired. But network executives get in the way, and they'll say, oh, we don't want to do this topic on this date because of this reason. Let's shuffle that down 3 or 4 episodes. Or maybe there was some historic event going on, and the news channel for that network preempted the show so it never aired, and they'll find a time later on in the season to fit it in to show it. So that can create a problems for the storyline if the show is more episodic than just individual little shows. So if you're really intent on having the original director's vision you'll want to keep the DVD ordering because the show might flow better. And I would suggest keeping a list in the cloud. If you're a Gmail user or you use Google Apps, keep a list of what shows need to be manually adjusted in the cloud, so in case you have to rebuild your server, you have that information handy and you can spend an afternoon switching the metadata for just those 200 shows. And of course, that's an over exaggeration. Are you really going to have 200 shows? And then again, if you rip everything from DVD, you can just use DVD ordering after you scan it in. But you have to be careful. Some shows do not have any metadata listed at TVDB for DVD ordering, and it won't pull metadata after you make that manual change for that reason. So that's kind of a complicated subject that I've probably unnecessarily tacked on, but there's no information that's bad with Plex, and you can stop watching before I get to this part if you're bored. So, Bret, let me know if this works for you. And you and everybody else watching, I appreciate the viewership, and this is the one channel you will never hear me say, click the bell and subscribe. I don't want you to subscribe. I want you to learn enough about Plex that you can handle any problem yourself, because you know these are here waiting for you. That's my real lesson for you. Plex's support articles tell all. I'm not a genius. I'm just someone who uses the Plex support articles and now know them like the back of my hand. So, happy Plexing. It's almost Halloween. Happy Halloween. And thanks for watching.